Hi everyone, this is JD from Gadget Rev Now. There's a lot of review out there that would say the same thing. We'll talk about the specs, the highlights, and the newest features of the new iPhone, so forth and so on. But those reviews won't even help you decide which phone will you buy or even just staying on the older iPhone if you feel like the latest iPhone doesn't provide the essentials you need. Today we will talk about the things that I don't like and like about iPhone 17 Pro. This is not a review sort of, but more of sharing my personal opinion. Let's say this is the truth and the critical review of iPhone 17 Pro. Let's begin with the things that I don't like about iPhone 17 Pro, and the first thing is the more expensive price tag from last year. To begin with, the design. They just stretched the camera module from one end to the other, but literally there's no RD involved on this. They probably reshuffled the internals of the phone, like putting the processor right in the dead center of the phone, but still, there's nothing more to it. That leads me to my second negative, which is the subtle design change. I mean, in front and the sides, you still have the same iPhone. There's not even an iPhone foldable right now, so that's a bummer. The only highlights they gave us this year is a different camera look. Not really different, but they just expanded and stretched the camera module on both sides of the phone, and they introduced the color orange. Although it's the hottest color, I feel like the navy blue or the deep blue will be the safer choice for many. Other than that, it's the same iPhone you would see every day. I bet some case makers will be able to replicate the iPhone 17 Pro case. That will fit the older iPhones. The next thing that didn't excite me is the AI or the Apple Intelligence lags behind Google or Samsung. I feel like Google Gemini is one of the more popular choice. And for those Android users who has Android 15 or newer, some of them are even paid subscriber. Samsung built their AI on this year's Galaxy S25 and will expect they would add more on their S26 series. And lastly, the confusing battery capacity. So there are two battery capacities for iPhone 17 Pro. We can differentiate this as eSIM variant and physical SIM variant. So Apple is measuring the battery life on the video playback, and the eSIM version of iPhone 17 Pro is 2 hours more compared to the physical SIM. Apple is not the only brand that implemented eSIM, and for most Android phones, the battery capacity won't change because of the SIM slot. I guess they're trying to squeeze in as much space on the new iPhone, and maybe this is just a theory. Apple might be pushing people to go on a SIM-less phone, because I think what Apple envisioned in their future, there's no ports or physical buttons on the new iPhones. But other than those negatives and almost like a rant, right, for iPhone 17 Pro, there's a lot of positives, starting with the premium build. So on iPhone 14 Pro series, they use stainless steel, which is on the heavier side. On iPhone 15 and 16 series, they use titanium. And this year, they decided to go for unibody aluminum alloy, which is a hard metal but lightweight. The phone feels super premium compared to other devices, even comparing this with Pixel phone or even Samsung Ultra. It feels like you went back to those days of iPhone 6 with that metal unibody design. That's how this feels like on iPhone 17 Pro. And also that new two-toned look. I kinda dig the new look of the new iPhone 17 Pro. The second upgrade, although confusing, is the great battery life. So right now, if you look on the papers, iPhone 17 Pro has bigger battery capacity compared to Galaxy S25 Ultra. Not by a mile, but only 88 mAh, and that's a few minutes to spare in terms of battery life. And because you're using a 3nm fabricated chip, this is power efficient. I did my initial battery test on iPhone 17 Pro. This looks similar to Galaxy S25 Ultra in terms of battery life, maybe even more compared to the Samsung competition. So this is really a good addition for the new iPhone 17 Pro. The next positive is the awesome performance. I mean, if you talk about gaming phones and premium phones, in terms of speed and performance, you're only looking at one phone that will give you consistent performance, and that is the iPhone. Even way back in the days of Android and iOS, the operating system of iPhone integrates better on the hardware compared to the Android counterpart. So we will always have really good experience using iPhones, and this is not an exception for iPhone 17 Pro. Like what Tim Cook says every year, this is the best iPhone yet. On my everyday activity, I don't feel any hiccups, and if I played the most highly intensive games you can think of, it will be a breeze on iPhone 17 Pro. Second to the last reason is the 48 megapixel triple camera setup at the back of the phone. We will do a separate camera comparison video of this phone versus the older iPhones and the Android counterpart like Samsung and Pixels of the world. And I could say quickly that I like the improvements on the ultra wide. You got more details on the 48 megapixel sensor. Obviously, there's no change on the main sensor and the telephoto, but the rear cam of the iPhone gives you consistent image and video quality compared to the older models. And lastly, still under the discussion of the cameras, we got a wider front-facing camera. This is an 18 megapixel sensor with f1.9 lens. This is a square sensor that crops in landscape or portrait depending on the orientation, and you don't lose details. It also gives you better EIS on the video because you have extra space on the sensor to work on while moving. I think this is one of the biggest improvement on the camera for iPhone 17 Pro. I will create a separate comparison video of this. Let me know in the comment section which phone do we compare first. But all in all, it's a really good iPhone. It has great performance, triple camera setup, and that orange color status symbol. I wish they didn't change the price. iPhone 17 Pro is definitely an upgrade, a more solid change.